it's wonderful. It's a beautiful thing. It's the kickoff of a new season. It's a kickoff of hope for great things to come in the next few months. And it's a chance to be around some fantastic coaches and fantastic players that represent our conference. So it's always a good experience to be here at Media Day.
One of the coaches that has been getting the most attention, I'm guessing you've noticed as well, has been Jim Harbaugh. Have you seen the kind of reaction around him so far?
He's a new guy, so yeah, that's always the case. And he's going to do a great job in this conference, and we're glad to have him here. I've had a chance to sit down with him a couple times here in some of our head coaches meetings. And he's a very unique guy. Brings a lot of enthusiasm and energy to this conference.
All right. Recent poll picked you guys last in Big Ten West. Does that add fuel to your fire for the upcoming year?
I don't read those polls. I have way too many things to concern myself than how people write those polls. All I know is what's in our locker room right now, and I like what's in there.
All right, the players have been talking a lot about this year, the practices have been a lot harder than in the past. Just what's that attributed to?
Well, we sat down as a staff, myself and the 5 staff members that we have, and I said, we have to be able to show strain day in and day out in our weight room in this offseason. And that's what's going to make us better, because that's how the game is played. Our big guys are going to lean up against guys for 4, 5, 6 seconds every single play. And that's how they have to train in the weight room. And as a result of that, we've done a lot of great things in the offseason.
Last year there was a couple games that kind of fourth quarter went the other way. With the added experience and the addition of an up-tempo offense, do you feel like you guys can kind of turn that around this year?
Well, we were within 10 points of 5 of our opponents in fourth quarters last year. We weren't able to pull those games out. And that's something we can feed off of as a team, as a coaching staff, that these are the things that are going to make the difference in the 2015 season. And our guys understand that. They can watch the film and make an objective view of what has happened last year. So we're looking forward, and we're looking forward to doing some great things.
Have you seen the guys a bit anxious for Sunday, September 6th in West Virginia?
I think they're more anxious about August the 6th, next Thursday, than September the 6th right now. I think they're all eager and ready to get back to work. We'll work for a full month before we open up against Marshall.
Coach, how important is the experience of your O-line, and how is that influencing the rest of the team?
It's huge. I mean, that offensive line allows you to do so many different things now. Evaluating other positions. When you don't have those guys, it's hard. It's really hard, and you feel sorry for the quarterback and those other positions. But being able to put Kugler in the middle and Jason King and Headland and whoever's going to end up on the right side, those are some good guys that played a lot of football for us.
Talk about those guys. You had 6 that played last year, and you said earlier you're going to have 8 or 9 in the mix this year. Can you talk about the younger guys who might be playing in there?
Yeah, you're going to have a Martese Patterson that can potentially help us. Obviously, JJ played for us. Our center, our backup center, he's going to be a good player for us as well.
Coach, the last 2 seasons, you've picked your starting quarterback August 18th exactly. I'm just curious, first of all, I know you said you don't have a timeline yet. It seems like that's the magic number. Why haven't you chosen to start again? And what specifically do you need to see from Austin Appleby for him to gain that job?
Well, we haven't chosen a starter because we don't know who the starter is right now. August 18th, I didn't realize that. That's a good stat to know. But we need to see Austin be a little bit more consistent. He's done a good job this spring. Last fall, there were some guys that we should have hit that we did not hit. But he's done a really nice job this springtime, really locating those guys and delivering football for us.
And let me ask one other thing, Darrell. I'm sorry if you've already been asked this, but obviously there was the big newspaper poll, the media poll that came out that picked you guys to finish dead last in the conference. Is that extra motivation for you guys? I mean, is that bulletin board material that you just try to ignore?
No. That has nothing to do with what happens in our locker room. Our guys are going to go to work, regardless of whether we're picked first or last. We're going to do the exact same thing and work as hard as we can to win football games. we can't get consumed by what people are saying about us. You can't. If you do, you're losing time at some things that do matter on Saturdays.
Coach, a couple of your players were talking about the last couple of years, your first 2 years, about putting in some building blocks and instilling a different kind of culture in the program. Where would you say your program is culturally? Looks like your players have bought it.
They have, and it's taken this long for them all to buy in. And we've had, anytime you take over a program, and this is my second time doing it, you're going to have some guys on one side of the fence, some guys on the other side of the fence, and some guys sitting on the fence. And the goal as a head coach and the coaching staff is to get them all over. And it's taken us 2.5 years to get to this point, but we're in a very good location right now in terms of that. We have very little distractions. Those guys are all thinking the same way, and because of that, you can get a lot of things done. And I like our locker room right now.
At this point, then, is this where the program starts to turn around and
Absolutely.
win or speed out?
Mm-hmm. No doubt. Yep.
I think I last talked to you when you were in the academy years ago. What's been the biggest difference between coaching and the
Well, obviously, you're playing more teams in the Big Ten that are better football teams, and it's relative. It's relative. It's, the good teams in the MAC, this amount of teams in the Big Ten every week. You got to make sure that you're ready to go. And that's probably the main difference. Football's football. You're going to coach the zone play the same way you coach the zone play. You don't care where you are. But that's probably the biggest difference. You got to strap it on.
I talked to Drew Brees recently. He told me that there's a lot of improvements going on at Purdue, and you're going to be back. Can you kind of talk about what Drew's been?
Well, Drew's a special Boilerman. He really loves our program. I had a chance to visit with him this summer. He knows exactly what's going on at Purdue football right now. Because of that, he was very supportive of the program, as you guys all saw this summer. You talk about a guy that just absolutely loves what's happening at Purdue football. That's Drew Brees.
What steps are being made to, can you kind of familiarize me with what different things are being done?
Well, we're under constant change, whether it's personnel, whether it's facilities, whether it's the attitude of the players. It's an ongoing change that you have to do to be able to catch up and to surpass people. And, he sees it, our staff sees it, our players see it, and that's why there's so much momentum and energy in our program right now that a lot of people on the outside may not recognize, but we certainly do from the inside.
You're going to get, I'm from Nebraska, you're going to get done a lot of stuff. Can you kind of talk about that matchup?
Well, you're playing Nebraska, you're playing a great football tradition program. Now they got a new coaching staff, and he's done so well the places he's been in the past. It's always a battle when you play those guys. It's fun to play those guys. It's one of those games where you love to get up for. One of the things we talked about earlier, when we played out there last year, we played pretty well, except for special teams. Our special teams really killed us that day. But they're going to always have a great football team.
A couple of your players said they were a little disappointed they not get a last shot at Notre Dame in their final year. Is there any disappointment that you guys aren't going to play them?
That's a great rivalry. It's been going on for since 1945 or so. And it's hard for that one to go off the schedule because it is, an in-state rivalry, and it's two great programs. We don't see them again until 2020. It's unfortunate, but that's the way it works.
It seems like you guys played them pretty close the last couple of years, though. Do you guys get up for that game? Do they get up for that game more?
I don't know if it's any more or any less, but anytime you play a rivalry game, there's something at stake.
How big is it for the other guys to use Danny Anthrop's year last year as a kind of like, hey, if this guy did it, now we're going to have 4 wide receivers in a lot of sets this year. Anybody can do it kind of year. Like just as far as seeing what he did last year and taking that to this year.
Yeah, I think the success that he had last year will help not only himself and the quarterback, but also those other wide receivers. He's a guy that you have to know where he is in all plays because he's as fast as anybody on the field. He's got legitimate football speed. You've seen him run away from a lot of guys. His success will help us this year with other guys.
Darrell, not only on the field, but everybody likes, he's a likable guy. It'll help the locker room knowing the mentality that he's back, right?
Danny?
Dan.
Oh,
Yeah, Dan.
absolutely. He is a likable guy. He's a local guy right there in Lafayette. Played at Central Catholic High School, and his personality is infectious to the rest of the team. But his work ethic, that's probably what sets him apart from all the other guys.
The other guys today said they missed him. I mean, he was still with you, but it's not the same.
It's not the same.
They missed him the last 4 games.
Oh, absolutely. You know, probably your most productive offensive player is standing on the sideline where you knew he was going to make a play out of something or nothing. They looked for him to be that guy, and he wasn't there for him.
And you're happy to have him back.
I'm very happy. We got to be smart as a coaching staff because he hasn't made those drastic cuts with us in a uniform yet. So we have to be smart in camp to make sure we get into the game.
Thanks, Darrell.
You're welcome.
Coach Charlie Green, Daily Iowa. We've been asking the coaches that are on our schedule this year at Iowa what they think of Iowa as a program. I just wanted your thoughts on that.
He's one of the guys I admire most in the coaching profession, not only in our league, not only in the NFL, but he's one of the guys that I looked upon for strength because the way he started his career is very similar to what we did. 1 win the first year, 3 wins the second year, and then his program took off, and he's been doing it ever since. And it's because he has a strong foundation, he has strong beliefs in what he's doing, and he's a pretty special guy. I admire him. Yeah.
So is that sort of the way you're trying to build the Purdue program through from like the weight room, fundamentals of the weight room and development rather than necessarily like top-end recruiting?
Well, it's all about building your foundation. The foundation is a lot of different things. It's not only recruiting, it's not only the way you want your players to behave and act and all those things. It's about the whole picture. And if you build a strong foundation, it'll last for a long period of time. If you go out and you recruit a bunch of junior college guys, and for a quick fix, it'll fix it for a year or so, but then all of a sudden you got to do it again. I want to build a strong foundation for this program. We'll be good for a long period of time.
Coach, what are your thoughts about the allegations made against Tim Beck?
You know what? I don't have enough time to do any research on Beck. I worked with Tim Beckman for a year at Ohio State. I know what kind of guy he is, what kind of coach he is. But I had not dug into any of the allegations. I always hear little things, but I have no idea about the allegations.
Did you reach out to him at all with his support at all, or
We don't talk one thing about the allegations. There's so many, there's rumors all the time about this has happened. You don't have time.
How would you say you monitor player safety at Purdue and everything else?
That's the number one goal is player safety, and we do it by monitoring the tackling, how much tackling we do, how much hitting we do. We do it, when the weather is drastically hot. We got to be careful there. So that's something that's always on my mind. Constant communication with trainers. Okay, what's safe, what's not safe.
Do you think the culture has changed a lot in the past 25 years?
Absolutely. We used to talk about guys that never gave guys water, guys that hit every day in preseason camp. We used to have 2-a-days for 3 straight weeks. All those things have changed over the past even 5 years. You're welcome.
Coach, you were really high on one of your running backs earlier in your press conference. You can't put a name to the guy. You said he was about 5'9", just a real bowling ball, his mentality. What about him makes him so dynamic? How important could that be for your offense with potentially struggling quarterback?
He's uncommon. His name is DJ Knox or Dexter Knox. He is very uncommon.
That's what you said.
Yeah, he's got unbelievable in the whole quickness. He's got great vision, anticipation. He's got enough top-end speed He's probably a 50-yard back in our league, but he's got incredible toughness. Incredible toughness. And that's what will help our football team.
It seems like more and more anticipation and patience are becoming bigger qualities in a running back, guys who can kind of process what the defense has given them and then hit the hole quick, like you said. Is that sort of the type of thing that he's bringing you guys?
He brings us a lot. I mean, he brings us that, but he also can hit it at top end speed, which is pretty good as well.
So did you say he's got the top running back spot sealed up for you?
You know, he's probably the front runner coming into camp, and then we'll have a few other guys that will also fight for that position. You're welcome.
Hey, Darrell, sorry we just kind of jumped in here, but a lot of people are, expecting you guys to turn the page a little bit this year and be more competitive. And you've done a great job the last couple of years. So, is this the year that you guys kind of get that job done?
Well, it's taken us 2.5 years to get to this position where you want to be in. And I really feel good about the guys that are in our locker room, all the work that they put in, and we finally have guys that look like Big Ten players, in my opinion. And they've worked hard. That's a tribute to our strength staff, our nutrition staff, and our players to put themselves in that position. I think we have a really special group of guys that are sitting in our locker room.
You guys have to keep the buying in. So what will be a successful season? I think I asked you this last year.
Yes, you did.
Yes, so what is
And I'm going to answer it this way. I probably answered it differently than last year. This year, I'm going to answer a successful season to me is when we got to win. That's for me. That's not from anybody on the outside of the building. And I think we have. No, I know we have enough good players in our locker room to be able to win against good people.
Put a number on it.
No, but the number is a lot. Yes.
It could be anything.
That's right.
But do you say roll or bust? Do you say that's step one?
Step one is so critical for us as Marshall because
Thank you. That's awesome. We're waiting for him.
on the road.
I'm gonna be right after that too. So.
Yeah.
But
You
yeah,
got the prime location.
yeah, I made friends with this guy, and he's like, just
Nebraska.
okay.
Are you building that home field advantage?
We're all
working together. Yeah, we're going to try to go right here on the side.
Okay, yeah. No, and if I'm still here,
That's
I'll.
what we
We need to invest in a
We
second
can do it as
truck.
well as we like to.
We have we have 4.
We got to play better at home.
We need to remember to bring
Those are the
more.
things.
Yes.
Those are the whole spot.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Set up right here.
Good luck to you.
You said it took him a while to buy in, and now you feel like you're finally have a Big Ten team. Did it take longer than you thought? Because I know you're pretty tough on him. I've seen the manual and stuff like that. Did it take longer than you thought?
First thing we just identify who's bought in, who's not, because sometimes guys are in different locations on the fence, on the other side of the fence. You got to identify where guys are at first. It's taken us 2.5 years. I would have liked it to have taken us maybe 2 or a year and a half, but it hasn't. But now it has, and that's the unique thing about this.
Returning some skill guys on offense, especially the quarterback. How much does that just help you going into year 3 here?
Well, it's so much nicer to have that sort of veterans on the field. They just make it so much easier to communicate with. They understand. They've been out there. They've been hit by good players. So it's nice to be able to.
I'm going to stand here.
Now, who our quarterback will be, we don't know yet. We'll know here shortly. We have 3 very capable guys that we feel.
So front runner, is it just day by day, grading it practice by practice?
Yeah, we'll alternate those guys in camp. In different, first we'll do it by days, and then we'll do it by periods. Find out who's handling the situations the best.
As far as turning the page here the last couple of years, you say players are starting to buy in around the recruiting trail and everything. It's got to be a little bit more helpful for you to win those games and recruits, right?
Oh, winning always helps in everything, in every happening. It takes away a lot of hurts and pains. But I think our big sale for the last couple of years is we got a chance to come in and play. We don't have those conversations anymore. That's the nice thing from a coaching standpoint. We used to say, okay, who has to help, who has to be a starter in the recruiting field. We don't have to make that conversation.
Thanks, Darrell. I appreciate
Great
your
to
time.
see you.
Yes, sir.
Coach, what's kind of the next step for you guys? I mean, you talked a little bit about how you felt like the talent level was increasing.
where do you guys go?
Well, you got to manifest those things that we've done onto the field, games, whatever that might be. But it's going to be fun to watch a football coach. Every play with a lot of passion. Every play extremely hard.
It seems like everybody talks about the Big Ten being a line of scrimmage league. We heard it, probably said here yesterday about that. But at the same time, you have kind of this rare group of quarterbacks coming to the league. Is this, as a coach, what's the difficulty in terms of preparing for those quarterbacks?
Well, if you don't have that line of scrimmage, you'll never see that quarterback. That's the point that you can't miss.
Pardon?
You're with your colleges.
But
Yes,
right,
we are.
have some
It's
great
pretty cool.
quarterbacks
It's a little
in
chance to
this
come out
league.
here.
They're all a little bit different.
been awesome.
I'm with the Purdue.
Oh, are you?
From each
I
week,
usually, I
what you
don't
think
know
they
anything
do
about
best.
sports, but our
what you
sports
think
girl
works.
usually does photos for this kind of stuff. She got like laryngitis, so I came and said, when they were like, we gotta go, who's gonna go? And I was like, well, I'll go, I'll just be really quiet.
There's
You
no
tell me
question
who's
going
shooting.
into the season.
It's been good so far, though. Got a lot of good shots and everything.
Much
Yeah.
better.
Yesterday was kind of like a trial and error, and I learned my lesson with the video. I thought it was going to run the entire time. Didn't know it only takes 20-minute segments, and it shuts itself off. Okay, but photos of it.
Luckily, no one's really been going longer than 20 minutes, too. It's been
Over an hour.
Be able to
Really?
protect the passing better. Be able to run the football. A lot of different schemes.
Forever finally, he was like,
They're old guys.
God, I can do this.
They're not old guys, but they played a lot of snaps.
He was rambling on with it. He was just being asked questions.
So would you say, this is going to sound kind of weird way to put it, but
My sister just sent me this, and
obviously
Danny's mom.
talk about that much in general, but it's the offensive line kind of in a way
was that interview?
we didn't record the whole thing.
No, I only recorded probably like,
It opened my eyes.
I think I recorded 40
years.
minutes, and then I finally just gave it up.
Just watching some of the struggles that we went through.
Just kept giving like metaphor
A lot
after
of the offensive struggles was because of the offensive. Now that those guys have developed as good players, you can be much more
Okay, the new guy, they always talk about changing.
That was my favorite.
How'd that go over? Interesting.
Start to see that
Was it? Okay. That's good, then. At least
It's funny because it's different. Every situation's different. And it depends on when you get to a program, who's in the locker room. You got to figure those guys out first. Who's on board, who's not on board, who's on the fence. And once you do, then you can start coaxing people.
that's a good idea.
Why to all those other things.
We're slowly getting patient.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing.
I know. I literally just need to be right here.
sort of implement this is what we're looking
I know. I'm trying to get him to. We already have an interview with the player, but we still want to do that anyway.
It's very important, but it's taken us almost 3 years of going into our program to get it right. But that's not saying that they weren't trying
When
to get it right.
I asked
but to get the things
Michigan
that we
State
need
Center yesterday a question about Michigan, like how they're going to prepare for it, and he looked like he wanted to eat me. He gave me like a